Hi, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful week and you're ready for another talk today. I'm joining two things that I really love to talk about and are really dear to me, which is aviation and environment. So, we will be talking about how aviation is responding to the environmental problem and how are they trying to get carbon neutral. So, stick around and let's talk. So let's start. Aviation and the environment. A lot of people may think that these two things are really not very compatible, but actually they are. Um, for a very long time, the industry has been trying to get more sustainable and environmentally friendly because they see the importance of this. They see the importance of reducing carbon emissions in our planet. And obviously, they know they have a very important part in this because, as we all know, um, aircraft unfortunately pollute and they emit a lot of carbon emissions, so we need to reduce that. Um, Last week, I attended a webinar from the website Flight Global. I'll leave the link below so you can also watch because it's really interesting. It has a panel of experts talking about this, and it gives you an insight of what in the industry actually are trying to do and what some airlines are trying to do in order to achieve this goal, which is really important. Um, and we all know that for this to happen, for a sustainable aviation to happen, something needs to also happen, and the sector or the industry needs to move towards a more sustainable type of fuel and a cost effective way of running their business because we know that running aircraft is not the most cheaper thing in the world. They are very expensive. The costs of running an aircraft are extremely high, and therefore it's a balancing act, and it's something that obviously the industry has been trying to do for since they started actually. Um, Fuel efficiency is something that has always been in the sector's mind. Every time a new aircraft is launched, obviously there's this need for it to be more fuel efficient and more efficient. Period. It's important because they want the aircraft to be faster. They want the aircraft to possibly carry more passengers because the more passengers it carries, the more profit it's going to be. They want uh, the aircraft to reach or longer distances without refueling, which is also important. So it all comes to one word: fuel efficiency. And obviously, every single time a new aircraft is launched, they also um, improve on that. There's more electronics. It's not only the electronics and the things inside the aircraft, but also the fuel and also the efficiency of the aircraft that may mean lower costs for the airline. With the planet in mind, and I must admit, um, it's quite amazing to see that the way aviation is trying to become sustainable and carbon neutral. And in this webinar, I honestly I had the opportunity to see what two airlines, which is United Airlines and KLM, are doing to improve all of this for their airlines and the usage of SAF. SAF stands for Sustainable Aviation Fuel. And they were talking about different things and they were talking about how this can be possible. And it is very important to see the effort that is being done by, for example, these two airlines. I'm sure other airlines will become involved if they are not already. In this particular webinar, there were representatives of two airlines, which were United Airlines and KLM, and they both are working to improve this and to get their aircraft more environmentally friendly. So, to produce this fuel, this sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF, how it is usually called, they don't want to go and produce it and go against the um, food production, or actually um, use land that would be agricultural land, etc., etc. They don't want to do that because they don't want to compete with the food industry, with the food sector. We need food, and they don't want to be taking space that may need for feeding the planet to do that. So what they were talking about, and I found extremely interesting, is using things like, for example, our waste, um, our domestic waste, and sewage to produce aviation fuel. We know that this is a problem to the planet. Also, we need to find something to reduce our waste and reduce, in general, even the sewage is waste as well. So I think by doing this, they will actually solve or help solving two problems, because if they start using the waste, and for example, with the sewage, they would remove a lot of methane from the environment, which is a very dangerous gas, and obviously one that is highly responsible for um, greenhouse emissions as well. So it would be very positive for the planet. They would not be competing with the food chain. They would not be competing with the food production, and they would actually be helping us get rid of waste. I know that I know, for example, in Portugal, they collect cooking oil. Supermarkets, or at least I remember last time I went there, it was possible to take, when you use your oil, your cooking oil, put it into a glass or a plastic bottle and return it, and they will have a specific bin where you could put all, like any other recycling bins, but that one would be just for cooking oil, and that cooking oil would be used to produce biodiesel. For example, buses in Lisbon run on biodiesel. Some of them, I don't know if all of them these days, because I haven't been in Portugal for a long time, but some were already run already on that type of fuel, and that was the plan for aviation, using sewage, using domestic waste, using cooking oils and things like that to produce um, fuel that will be sustainable, that would reduce carbon emissions, that would reduce the use of fossil fuels. And I think that's a very positive thing for all of us and for aviation as well. As I said, airlines like United Airlines and KLM are working towards this goal, working towards um, a good outcome in this aspect. But obviously, it is important that governments get involved and help airlines to achieve this goal, and help the industry to achieve this goal, which would be a positive one for all of us. I think in the end, we all have to. It's a win-win for everyone, because um, we get to fly, we get to have our aircrafts flying, and have to, um, we still get to have our planet and save our planet. So this is a case of industry, and I think a lot of industries are doing this these days. Is a case that industry is working actively to protect the environment, and certainly aviation is one of these sectors which I'm very proud of. And that's all for today. I hope you really like this talk today. It was really good to talk about this because I think a lot of people do not know um, about SAF, about sustainable aviation fuel, and the work that some no, some airlines are doing to actually reduce carbon emissions. And so I decided to talk about this. But please, if you work in an airline and if you have an idea about this, or you can comment about this or heard about other airlines that are also doing what KLM and United Airlines are doing to use SAF and reduce carbon emissions, please share. Um, and if you have any opinion about this, if you agree with it or if you disagree with it, please share. Leave a like on the video, the algorithm, the YouTube, the story. Before I go, I would like to help. Um, thank you all. Thank you all for watching and ask you for subscribing the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of a new talk every week. Before I go, once again, I would like to thank you all for watching. See you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.